Hi class. In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of stock valuation. There are quite a few models in stock valuation. We're only going to see a few. In this particular video, I'm only going to show you two. I may actually break the video into two parts, but we'll see about that. It depends on the timing. The first model we're going to see is called, is called the dividend discount model, or DDM for short. It is just an application of time value of money, TVM. That's what it is. Okay, so just don't think that you're learning a completely new skill. You're just applying an old skill to a different scenario. So let's start with a very simple time value of money problem, just so we can warm up. All right, so yes, we need a timeline. 1, 2, 3, good. And let's say that we have payments equal to $1. Well, the time is obviously 3 because it's 3 periods. And let's say that we have a interest rate of 8%. Okay, so you're gonna get $1 on the first year, another dollar on the second year, and another dollar on the third year. All right, so it's an annuity for 3 years of just $1. Okay, multiple ways you can find the value of this, but let's just do it the easiest way, which would be you're going to find the present value of each of these discounted to today, and then you're going to add them up to get the total present value. I should probably do this like that. It would be easier. So that's going to be 1 divided by 1 plus 0.08 to the 1 power, because it's 1 period, right? So which formula am I using? I'm using the following formula. Let me just write it here. The present value is just going to be the sum, right, of the payments 1 plus the rate to the n or to the t or n, whichever you prefer to use. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just doing the payments divided by 1 plus r to the n, and as you can see here, that's what I've done. $1 divided by 1 plus 0.08 raised to the first power. Okay, I'm gonna do it here as well. So I do 1 divided by 1 plus 0.08 to the second power. Well, I can make this easier, right? It's that 1.08, sorry, raised to the second power. And finally, the last one is going to be 1 divided by 1.08 to the third power. Now I have the present value of each of those payments. So the sum of all three equals the present value of $1 per year for the next 3 years when the interest rate is 8%. Very basic stuff. This is what you've done before, right? But now, what if the dividends go on forever? So imagine the annuities that you have computed before, but imagine an annuity that goes on forever. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I know it doesn't, but it kind of, you need to make it past that point. You need to understand that that's what we do in finance. We make these assumptions, and without assumptions, then these models don't, the theory doesn't work. And the one assumption that we make in finance is that a company pays a dividend forever, in perpetuity, forever. Okay, this goes back to one of the previous one of the first chapters. We assume that a corporation stays in business forever, and the reason for that, why do we make that assumption? Well, it's because it makes the math very easy. And two is because we don't have any other, we don't have a reason to doubt it. If you have a reason to doubt it, if you think that that company is not going to be in business for the foreseeable future, that's a different story. Okay, that that changes everything. But that's not the case that we're going to be looking at here. Okay, so what did I say? So we're going to continue now. We're going to look at what if it pays forever. Okay, so let me. All right. So this is the what if the payments are forever. Okay. So if they go into infinity. Okay. Now we're going to change a few things here because now we're going to go from basic TVM. We're going to, we're going to move right to stock. So we're going to make some changes here. So instead of payments, let's call these, let's call the payments dividends. And the interest rate, instead of calling it R, we're going to call it RS, the required return on that particular stock. You've seen some of this. There are other parts of this video that you haven't seen yet that you will see in the next chapter, or next two chapters. So just bear with me. You don't need to know everything about those to do this math. I just want you to know that if you see it, you're like, I don't know what that is. I've never seen it before. Like, it's okay. We'll get into that detail later. So we're gonna make those just these two changes. Okay, just very small changes. So I'm going to kind of borrow the same problem, sort of. 0, 1, 2, 3, and it goes on forever. Okay, so we are going to have now, instead of PMT, I'm going to call it dividend. And notice, I call it D1. D1 is the dividend that is paid in year one, right? And in this case, D2 will be 1, D3, D4, D5, D6. They're all ones. It's just $1 in forever. Okay? And we're going to have a required return on the stock of 8%. Right? So that's the problem. So the formula, well, so let's try to do it. We're not going to. I'm just being funny here. But what if you try to do this the old way, which is the way I did it right about, the way I did it previously here? You will have to discount every dividend, payment dividend, forever. So you'll never finish computing it, right? You'll go on and on and on and on and on for years and years and years, and you'll never be able to finish this problem. Well, so there's obviously you're not going to do that because math is only, it's going to help us. We have a formula that allows us to compute this without doing, without discounting every single payment individually one by one to today. And the formula is as follows. The price at 0 today, 0 is today, is going to be equal to the first dividend or next dividend, depends how you look at it, but it's the next dividend, the first dividend, divided by the required return on the stock. This is what we call a perpetuity. Okay, it goes on forever. You could actually write this, if you want to write that in as if you were just doing the time value of money. It will be the same as that. Okay, we're just going to call PV the present value. We're going to call it, we're going to call it PO, the price today. Payments are now called D1, and the return is now called required return on the stock. Okay, so now let's do the math. 1 divided by 0.08 which is the required return. Notice it's not 1.08. It's not 1 plus the required return. It's just the required return, 0.08. That's it, $12. That's the, make it, okay, $12.50. So if this was a company that you were analyzing and this company paid $1 dividends in dividends and is expected to pay forever, that will be the fair value of the share, $12.50. Which, of course, at that point you can look up the price on the stock market today, and if it's over that, then you will say that it's overvalued, in which case you will short the stock. If it's under that, under the $12.50, you would say that it's overvalued, and that will signal you that it should be purchased. You should buy it and hold it until it reaches that point, and then you sell it. Okay? But of course, things get more and more complicated. All right. What if the dividends, those payments, the dividends, continue to grow at a constant rate forever? So instead of being $1, $1, $1 forever, it starts at some level and it grows forever at a constant rate, okay? Constant rate growth, all right? So we're gonna do a, we're gonna do our line, 0, 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna have a dividend. Let's say that the dividend, the next dividend is $1. Let's say the required return is still 8%, but we now have growth of 2% after the first dividend. Okay, so the first dividend is going to be $1, but this is D1, but D2 is going to be 1 times 1.02 because it's going to grow at 2%, right? So this is easy math. That will be $1.02. It's easy, right? The third one will be a little more complicated, and it gets more and more complicated, right? Sorry, this goes on forever, because it would be D3 will be D2 times 1 plus 0.02, right? So D3 will be 1.02 times 1 plus 0.02, and that's like 1.04 blah 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 something. Okay, that's still kind of easy. Honestly, that's easy, but it's gonna get more and more complicated, right? Again, this is gonna go. This will go forever. You will be computing this forever, and then you're not even done. You're just computing the dividends. Then you will have to come back here and do this business of finding the present value of each of them individually. Of dividend 1, present value of dividend 2, present value of dividend 3, and so on. So it's impossible. You cannot do that. Well, I have good news. We have a formula for that. Okay, thank God. And the formula is as follows. I can, well, I'll write it in this form, yeah. So the price today, remember, P0 means the price today equals D1, which is the first dividend, divided by the required return on the stock, RS, minus the growth, G. Another way of writing this, which sometimes is going to be very useful, it would be DO 1 plus G RS minus G. I only changed the top, the numerator, okay? I'll read that. Sorry. Where D1 is just D0 plus the growth, okay? D0 times the growth, okay? So let's go back to our problem and let's do some math. D1 is going to be $1. That's going to be the next payment, the next dividend. The required return is 8% minus the growth, which is 2%. So remember, that, right? And I'll just do it here on Excel. By the way, if you probably by now you've noticed that I'm not using any Excel formulation. That's because Excel does not have formulas for this. These are actually manual computations that you have to, well, manual. Excel is doing it for you, but you have to enter the formulas into Excel. There's no equal sign, PV, no, there's none of that. Okay, sorry. So 1 divided by 0.08 minus 0.02. Here you go. $16, I'll make it into a dollar so you can, yeah. $16.67, that is the price of the stock today. Today. Ooh, that was not good. Okay,